Hi, my name is Michelle Hewer, and I'd like to go through some of the changes for the UK Global Talent Visa in August of 2025. Now, you will have seen some announcements that have been made by the government, and sometimes no announcements. It just pops up, and you just have to be vigilant in knowing what the new changes to the UK Global Talent Visa in digital technology guidelines are. So, as I said, my name is Michelle Hewer. I am a recipient of the UK Global Talent Visa in Digital Technology. I'm also a coach for the Stage 1 endorsement process. Now, back in 2016, now it's nearly 10 years ago, I was endorsed with exceptional talent for the UK Global Talent Visa, went on to get my ILR and finally British citizenship. Um, I was a lawyer from Australia and became a startup entrepreneur and founder, and I've coached over 1,000 and even more now. So, for with applicants in the last 9 years, my success rate is 90%. And how it all began was when I wrote a blog about my own journey in 2016, and that blew up, went viral, and it became my full-time job, and to help other people with their applications for the Stage 1 endorsement. My website is michellehewer.co.uk, and have a look at that because I have loads of information and resources on the Global Talent Visa. Now, over the last 9 years, I've helped so many people, and I decided to hold an event last year to invite some of my clients who ended up in London, and I met them for the first time. And these are some of the happy faces that I met. Only met them online, and to see them in person and to give them a big hug for securing this amazing visa, and now they're well onto their way of you know. It's having their jobs in tech, and also some have received settlement, ILR, and some of them are now on their way to citizenship themselves. So, just some of the changes that I'd like to talk about. In the guidelines in Tech Nation, right at the bottom when you go through them, there is a change log, and you must regularly check these because they don't make any announcement. It just pops up. So as you can see here, I've taken a screenshot, but the last one was in January 2025, which was earlier this year. And then 7 months later, in August 2025, there have been some changes. And again, it just pops up. There aren't any announcements, so you do have to check before you apply, right before you submit as well. Just keep an eye on that. And I always keep an eye on this before my clients apply and during the process of preparing your application. So there are four changes, but I'll discuss three because one of them is just a document checklist to reflect some of the changes. So I'll go through the three changes now, and you can have a look at the guidelines yourself, but I will go through them now. So the first change is the process. Before 3rd of August 2025, there was a two-step process, and that was you pay online at the Home Office, and that's for your Stage 1 endorsement. And then step two, once you make payment, you go onto the Tech Nation portal. It was an online portal, and you upload all your 15 documents onto the portal, and then you submit, and away it went. So there was an actual portal there. Don't want to confuse them. When I applied, there was no portal. It was by snail mail, which is by post. So I had to print all my documents and send it by post to the Home Office. I think it was in Sheffield at the time. So, in the last sort of, 9 years, they did update their processes. So this was a two-step process: pay at the Home Office and then upload the documents to Tech Nation portal. Now, after the 3rd of August this year, it's now changed. Now there's only a one-step process, okay? It's basically you pay at the Home Office, you complete the online application form, and you upload your personal statement, okay? So that's what you would do. However, it kind of is a two-step process, but the next step is you email all your 14 documents, because your 15th one would have been your personal statement, which you've already uploaded. 14 documents, you email it to a central email that they provide to you in a checklist, and you email that document to the Home Office. So really what's changed is that the Tech Nation portal is closed. So there's no more uploading the documents onto Technation Portal. It's all done through the Home Office. Okay. Whether or not it's good or bad, I'm not sure. I don't necessarily like it because you're relying on an email as opposed to a portal. I quite liked the portal, given that when I applied, it was by snail mail. The portal was fine. I really enjoyed helping my clients going through the portal. I've helped some clients go through the email process. It is a bit of a change. Let's see how it works, and let's see if it's as good as the portal. I'm still not decided on that because the changes are very new, and no one likes changes, particularly when it comes to process. So let's see what the how it all pans out. But now it is a one-step process. You pay at the Home Office, complete everything there, then you email it to the Home Office as well. Okay, so that's the main change. Second change. Now, when I applied back in 2016, there was a fast track option, and this fast track option has had some iterations over the years. So there was always a fast track option, but the conditions varied over the years. So before fast track was available for acceptance into accelerators listed. So if you were part of an accelerator, basically what an approved accelerator on the list, you would ask for a fast track decision. It didn't really impact on what the decision would be, but just the time taken to make the decision. Because you may or may not know this, but once you submit, it can take up to 8 weeks for a decision to be provided back to you. Average is about 3 to 4 weeks, but there was a fast track available if you were approved onto an accelerator. And I guess the reason is because, accelerators have a time in which they would start, their cohorts. And I've been a community manager of an accelerator. These cohorts sort of kind of start not at the last minute, but they're quite quick. Once we accept a startup to come onto accelerator, it usually happens quite quickly. It could start in a month, it could start in 2 months. And again, with the decisions and the visa, that takes time. So the great news back then was that there was a fast track available. Unfortunately, now there is no fast track. So basically, it doesn't matter. You would have to submit and hope that the decision comes back quickly. You cannot apply for a fast track. As I said, applications can take up to 8 weeks. The average is 3 to 4 weeks. And if you are waiting for a decision and you need it done quickly, there is no way for you to get a quick answer. You can only email the central email to seek an update of your application after 8 weeks. There's no, I'm on an accelerator, can you please hurry up with my decision? There is none of that. So unfortunately, I don't know, this change may or may not be good. I don't think it is very good, but look, they're the changes now. So the key takeaway from this is apply sooner rather than later. Don't wait. Just apply when you're ready to apply. Just apply. Don't wait for a reason to apply, particularly for any accelerators. Okay. And these are the new changes. The third change is fraud. Now, this has popped up, and they're talking about fraud. They kind of already talked about fraud before, but now they've actually listed examples of fraudulent activity. So it includes, if you forged any documents, if you've misrepresented your professional experience or responsibilities or job titles, if you've altered any timelines of employment or project involvement, if you've made false claims about, your contributions, and if you've fabricated any letters. So they will conduct due diligence, they will cross-check, and they will double check as well to make sure there's no fraud. And this leads me on to ChatGPT. That's not fraud, but they've actually made a point, and this was in the guidelines previously in the changes, that you shouldn't be using ChatGPT on your documents as well. I have a feeling, and I've seen some feedback, that assessors have rejected applications because they've deemed that the person has used some ChatGPT in the application process. It's clear in their documents, or they've said that they may have gone through a ChatGPT checker. So just be mindful that please don't use ChatGPT. You might be able to, you might want to use it for inspiration, but in terms of using it in your documents, please don't use ChatGPT, because that could be a reason for rejection and unsuccessful applications, which I've seen in assessors' decisions as well. One more change, actually. I received an email from the UK government website, and they talked about some changes to the appeal or the endorsement review form. So in September, I got this on an email, and I had a quick look at the review form. So basically, if you do receive an email and it says that you have been unsuccessful, you do have the opportunity to appeal the decision or ask for an endorsement review. And this is the form that you would use. And you will see that there is a version, the September 25 version, and you use it after 1st of September. So from now. So basically, they didn't really say what what changes were. So I had a look and I compared the old form to the new form. And really, the only thing that I could see was that your response to the feedback from the assessors that said, no, you're not endorsed, the boxes in the form are actually a lot bigger than it was before, which means you can say more, you can respond and explain in a lot more detail than you could before the September changes, which is a good thing. This is a good change, because I do help clients draft their endorsement review, and it was really frustrating because we were limited to the boxes that they provided. So now the boxes are a whole page as opposed to half a page, and you can clarify any evidence and point the assessor to the mistake, and the boxes are bigger, so you can say more, which is very, very useful, because if you're trying to appeal or the decision and you're limited in what you can say, it can be very frustrating. So yeah, this is a great change. I do like this change, and hopefully you will too when you do go in and fill out the form. Hopefully you don't get an unsuccessful decision, but if you do, please come and talk to me, because I can talk you through it and hopefully draft your appeal for you. Okay. There have been some talk about other changes, more widely, immigration changes. I can't give too much advice or details because I'm not an immigration lawyer. You would have to seek the services of an immigration lawyer. But from what I can see in what I've read is the immigration white paper that was published in May 2025. The main change, or the main thing that a lot of people have been talking to me about, is the indefinite leave to remain condition of 5 years. Okay, so once you've lived in the UK for 5 years, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. We know that the global talent visa, if you are endorsed with exceptional talent, it's a fast track route to apply for indefinite leave to remain, which is 3 years. But if you have been endorsed with exceptional promise, you do have to wait for the 5 years before you apply for indefinite leave to remain. Now, with the immigration white paper and with what has been announced just recently by the Home Secretary, it's now being consulted and conditions imposed from 5 to 10 years indefinite leave to remain for the likes of the skilled worker visa, and there are conditions, and you can read that in my blog, which I've published on my website. But they've listed certain conditions in order to successfully apply for indefinite leave to remain. So have a look at that. And also, there is talk, the UK government have established this new global talent task force, and this task force is exploring any sort of things that they can help with global talent, and they are considering to scrap fees for top global talent, and it's only a consideration. They're only exploring it. It's not been announced, but from what I gather from reading the immigration white paper, is what they want is they want global talent. They want highly skilled people here, and they want to attract more top talent to the UK. So it's still under consultation. There has not been any decision set yet about the indefinite leave to remain from 5 to 10 years. There are conditions that the Home Secretary have sort of talked about, but it is going through public consultation now. Okay, so those are the more wider immigration changes. So I'd like to talk about, all my other resources that I do share. I host educational webinars, I host inspirational webinars, I have online courses, I have a newsletter, I have a YouTube channel, I have a blog on my website, and I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and you can have a look at my website. Now, I'd like to announce that I do have two webinars coming up. Next Thursday, the 16th of October, I have an inspirational webinar where I helped my client Noi, who applied, unfortunately, himself the first time. He's an exceptional promise candidate, and unfortunately, he wasn't successful. So he then asked me to help him with his application for appeal and potentially a second resubmission, which, I do help a lot of people resubmit when they have applied themselves the first time. And fortunately, he did receive his endorsement for exceptional promise. So Noi is going to come on and share his story, and we can talk about, the difference between his first application and second application, and how he did it and what his challenges were. On the 23rd of October, the week after, I am also interviewing my other client, Peggy, from China, who applied for the Global Talent Visa endorsement, and Peggy also received her endorsement. Now, this was her first time applying, and it was amazing to work with her, and she received her endorsement for exceptional promise as well. So two very highly credible, highly talented applicants who were endorsed with my help. So please do register. I've got the link below for these webinars, and I do have more webinars coming up. So if you're on my newsletter, I'll be sending it to you. But yeah, sign up to my newsletter, sign up to the webinars. I will put you onto my newsletter. So I hope to see you there. If you'd like me to check your eligibility, have a look at my website. I do have an eligibility questionnaire, and please fill that as best as you can, because that helps me determine whether or not you're eligible to invite you for a free 15-minute discovery call. My website has loads of information on the Global Talent Visa as well. So if you need further support, please do email me at techvisa@michellehewer.co.uk. But as I said, the first port of call is eligibility questionnaire. So if you do email me and you haven't filled out the questionnaire, I'll lead you to that anyway. But if you have any specific questions, please do email me. And it's great to see you. And those are the most recent updates from August, and I hope to see you at my webinar next week. And please do sign up, and there's loads of things going on in the global talent visa space and immigration space in the UK. Bye.